Hey, I did my presentation on Mark Whitacre and price fixing. And the reason that I named it a whistleblower at his finest is um, because even though he is trying to help people figure out or discover that this company is doing something wrong, he still had his own setbacks. So, Mark Whitacre, he is now 63. He has 4 children and he is married to his wife, Ginger. Ginger actually plays a big role in his FBI informant on price fixing at ADM. He is currently an executive director of Coca Cola, and he became really famous in 1995 when he did his price fixing case and told the FBI about what was really happening with this huge company. So, Archer Daniels Midland, which is also called ADM, is who Mark Whitacre worked for at the time, and basically they produce and manufacture products that go in different foods and feeds and things such as that. He, like I said, was the vice president. He was actually hired as the president of the bioproducts division. He was known as the youngest president of this huge company. 32 is actually very young. And he became the vice president. He was the president of the bioproducts at 32 and then became vice president at 35. When he became vice president, that's when he came out to the FBI and said that he caught them in a price fixing scandal with these other countries trying to price fix 2 products that they manufactured. Later on, we'll talk about when he was terminated in 1995 and why. So, price fixing was actually a new term to me. I have heard of it, but I actually did not know what it is. So, this slide is just the definition of price fixing. Basically, it's when 2 business competitors agree to maintain a price, and it's illegal for many different reasons. It's not good for consumers, it's not good for other companies that are also trying to sell products that are similar. So, this price fixing conspiracy, he exposed ADM to the FBI. He wore wires for almost 3 years. He noticed that they were with 2 other countries, the Japanese and Korean competitors, and they were fixing the price of lysine, which is an animal feed, and citric acid, which is a preservative. They were fined $70 million for lysine and $30 million for citric acid. But while he was trying to be this whistleblower, he also was under his own greed, and he definitely had an ethics infliction on himself. Basically, the story that he tells is that he told his wife that he was embezzling money from ADM, and he became very greedy, and he also was believed that he was not paying taxes, so tax evasion was also an issue. He gives all the glory to his wife, Ginger, for being the true whistleblower and calling out ADM, because she is the one that when he said that he had the issue of stealing money, basically, he says that she is the one that said, you have to turn yourself in, and he does. So he pled guilty, and it led him to almost 9 years in prison. And ADM was not off the hook, and some people think that because he helped out the FBI in this whistleblower actions, then he should have got off the hook for stealing. So this is just a timeline. He was born in 1957. He graduated in 1983, and not even 6 years later, he became the president of the bioproducts at 32. Like I said, at 35, he became the vice president of ADM, and many people said that he was going to eventually become the president of this huge company. 1992, he began being a whistleblower for the FBI, and like I said, he wore the wires for 3 years. And once it came out that he was telling on them, he obviously was terminated from ADM, but he also was stealing from them, so understandable. He was incarcerated for his actions in 1998, and he served for 8.5 years when he was released from federal prison. So is price fixing ethical? Like I said, it was a new term for me. I had to really look into why it was unethical towards many people. I really didn't have my own opinion until I did a lot of research, and it's actually very messy. So, according to thebalance.com, price fixing is illegal because it fosters unfair competition and imposes high prices on consumers. So they're all fixing these prices, but the consumers are paying a lot more money, and they're making all this money off of us as consumers. So as a consumer, it is very unethical. And to their competitors, it's not very fair either, because they're basically like teaming up, and the other people are just out of luck. And it also leads to being out of products, like running out of things. So especially during this pandemic, it would be a huge ordeal. So with what we have been studying, my personal opinion is that it has inflictions over ethics, as it violates the principle of autonomy. It violates the principle of honesty, especially. You're lying to the people. It's illegal. You can't do that. So it violates the principle of justice and lawfulness. It is against the law. So anybody that is caught doing that, obviously, they're fined huge bucks. Like ADM was $70 million for lysine and $30 million for citric acid. So it's a huge deal. And Mark Whitacre, he has his own website, and he speaks on this case, and he says that people call him a hero. And while I do think that learning about whistleblowing in college, I think, is very important, especially for business students, because it's important to do the right thing at all times and not fall into this case where you're just going with the flow because it's your business. And especially, he was high up in the business, in that business, ADM, and people were saying that he was going to become president. So why would he ruin that? Why would he call them out and get the FBI involved, especially when he was stealing? But he says that he came to terms with the fact that he was being unethical, and the right thing to do would be to not only turn himself in, but to call out ADM, to let FBI know that they are not doing what they're supposed to, and they're price fixing. So while I do think that what he did was unethical, he was very greedy. He was not honest. He lied to his wife for a while, and then he finally came clean. He did things against the law, and he did things for his own personal benefit. He was not thinking of other people. He wasn't thinking of his family. He had 4 kids, has 4 kids. So being in federal prison for 8.5 years, you miss a lot of time. So I think that overall, was whistleblowing ethical? I think he did the right thing, turning himself in and turning them in. But I think that he also was to blame for what he did, and he had to take responsibility for his actions as well. So, fun facts, there was actually a movie created called The Informant. I have not watched it, but it does have pretty good reviews, and they say that it's pretty right on point. And also, there was a lot of information when I was looking this case up about how many people, like I said, were calling him a hero and wanted a presidential pardon for Whitacre. And they think that he should not have gotten in trouble for what he did because he helped out this huge company and they made all this money off of price fixing. Here is my works cited for all of my information. Thank you.